This is the Fastbreak, the ultimate podcast where we dive deep into the world of the MMA Basketball Association with your hosts, BG, George, Darius, and Hunter. Guiding you through the highs, the lows, and the incredible stories that make basketball more than just a game. Be competitive, be the dogs you know you are, but most importantly, be careful. This is the Fastbreak.
Yeah, welcome. So be careful, huh? I mean, we gonna have to be careful. There's a lot going on in the chat today. So with that, we got some special guests. So we got the four of us in here, me, Darius, George, and Hunter. Let y'all say y'all little thing for yourself.
What's going on?
And then we got our special guests from the BadBoys, Tay and Chris, Wavy.
What up, pod?
Here.
Back. Not for the greatest reasons, but glad to be back.
You finna get it off y'all chest right now.
As a matter of fact, I don't even want to do a whole big spiel. So let's just get into it. So if you've been watching the chat at all, you've seen there's some disgruntled guys and whatnot. And I guess after the games last night, I think BadBoys went 0-2 last night, and there's some stuff that they got to get off their chest. So I'm going to turn the floor right over to Chris and Tay.
All right, Tay, I'm going first, bro. So, I just feel like nobody on the team is stepping up right now, from the cap spot to our point, to our small forward, to our power forward, even me at the center spot. We're not stepping up. Last night, the first game I could kind of understand because we hadn't played in 2 weeks and, it was All-Star break and we had just won and we was on top of the world and we didn't go Owen as Owen Wilson, and BG knows that's our insider when people haven't won a game and they Owen. But I just feel like our butts got tight last night in the last 2 minutes. And it was crazy because we had the lead. I think we were up by maybe 5 or 6. I can't remember. But then we started turning the ball over. We started playing ISO ball, making terrible decisions, myself included. I mean, and, the game before that, it was a close game versus Strictly Business. I think we were down 6. And, Tay made the comment, you got to shoot that said, and said had enough, because I know he heard that a lot when he played with Ace, and I know he hears that all the time and when we play fives and all that stuff. And it's like I can understand where he was coming from. The problem I had and why I kind of had my outburst today in the chat was it wasn't the time to do it, because if you go back and watch the game, that's what I said, and we were still close. We could have won that game, and I think that just kind of killed the vibe. And then they went on a run. Strictly went on a run in the third and fourth quarter, and that's what killed us. So then we go to the second game, and it's a close game. It's a rivalry game. Me versus BG, that's a rivalry. Ace versus Said and the BadBoys, that's a rivalry. Tay versus Ace, rivalry. I guess some people are trying to make up rivalries with Phil. I don't quite.
We're going to talk about that later.
Yeah, we definitely can talk about that later. But trying to make up rivalries, Phil, Bishop and Phil.
It's not a try to. Hey.
What has Phil said, George?
Oh no, George.
Phil.
Hey, but it can't be a rivalry if it's one-sided, though. I'm just saying, but
I'm just saying.
And look, bro, and I get it. I know his feelings are hurt, George, because he got traded and he got traded to a team that's struggling.
Emotional damage.
That was
And I understand, but bro, it's like we're dealing. It's like, I'm gonna give you an analogy, BG and Darius and George and Hunter. It's like when you're dating a girl who's not over their ex, and so everything you do, they compare their ex. Like, oh, he used to hold the door for me. Oh, my ex used to cook good. I don't want to hear that. You're on our team now. You get what I'm saying? We got to let the past go, because that factors in to when we're trying to beat this team that's across from us. That factors in. And I just feel like that all came to fruition last night. Now that being said, and I'm gonna let Tay go in a second. I did have an overreaction. I do believe, and I talked to Said today. Not gonna lie, and I let him know how I felt, and I told him he needs to step up and be a better captain. And because he's capable of doing it. Because the end of last season, he was perfect down the stretch. He didn't coach. He just let me and Ace vibe out, and we wound up winning. And I feel like if he can find that formula and let me and Tay vibe out, we can make the playoffs still. I'm not guaranteeing it because we are in a hole. And when I say we're in a hole, we're in a hole. But it's very possible, especially with the Knights. The Knights lost both games last night, didn't they?
Yeah.
So they lost both.
They did.
And we just had success against the Crusaders, and I know that's Darius and George's team, and I know they're gonna come with it next game because they've been a tough duo. And Darius, I gotta give you your props, bro. You have really been playing. To me, you've been playing well this season. Like after your hiatus,
I appreciate that.
you've been playing well, bro.
I need to do a little more. I appreciate it.
But
hey, can I interrupt for just a sec, Chris? I just want to say this. I gotta say this. I'm mad proud that y'all two, spoke and worked out things because people have seen in the chat. So, I'm just saying, throwing this out there. People have seen in the chat things was a little volatile, but I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, for anybody who don't know, me and Chris, we had a little.
That's some words. Some hostile words.
Yeah, real hostile, stupid beef. But I put it behind me. Me and Chris, we moving forward from here on out. Because Chris, I like Chris. I told Chris that to his face. Sometimes he be annoying me, but I'm sure I be annoying people too. But I like Chris though. He entertaining boy. So we straight, right, Chris?
Yes, sir, for sure. I'm saying that publicly. We are for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, hold on. I just had a quick question, Chris. So you mentioned how you went to Said and talked about, or last season later down the stretch, how Said kind of just laid back and just let his superstars work. And so you spoke on kind of what that relationship was last season towards our stretch. So I wanted to know, when the trade went down, for you to be basically it was you and Ace, y'all the 1-2 punch. In real life NBA, you got both sides of the story. Sometimes you got GMs that go to their superstar and say, "Look, that's what we gonna do. How you feel about it?" Then you got GMs who just go make this thing happen, this move happen without letting these superstars know, and then they superstars just blindsided. So how did you feel when the trade took place? Was it did he talk to you about it? Was it blindside type of thing?
Okay, so I definitely wasn't blindsided. Said let me know, but I'm gonna say this. I told Said to do. Sorry about this. My daughter's watching Blue. Y'all have to forgive me. I told Said, I was like, bro, do whatever you can to reconcile this. And I think that the because I'm sure Phil has told y'all, and I'm sure y'all heard around the league, the argument was so tense that it was really no turning back. And look, again, I'm not going to sit and dwell on Ace. Me and him, we had what we had. And Tay is a great point guard. I'm not comparing them at all. They're both great point guards in their own right. But, to me, one person got to put their pride to the side. And with Ace being the better player, I mean, we seen it. And Said being the captain, I feel like Said should have just, until the end of the season, let's see what happens.
That's what I said. That's what I said to BG.
Until the end of the season, put it to the side, and then maybe if we're 2-8 or 2-6 at All-Star break, then visit a trade. But not after 2 games, bro. I'm sorry, you can't do that after 2 games. I would have Ace would have been like Kevin Durant was, and you know how Kevin Durant had to still finish out his games with the Nets, even though he wanted to go, he would have had to play. And me and Ace had even talked about, and of course I'm not gonna reveal text messages or conversations, but we do have conversations where he was willing to play until they found him a home, and I just feel like we jumped the gun. Because guess what? What if we had came back and won our next 2 games and we're 6-2 right now? That argument is meaningless. You get what I'm saying? So I just feel
that's why I kind of wanted to know what your role was in the
and he told me. So of course BG wasn't moving off of M Will. That's who we originally wanted Tay and M Will. But then it turned into Tay and Bishop, and it got to that point where it was like, Ace and Said are still into it. I was just like, man, just do the deal and we'll figure it out from there. And I see a lot of potential with this team, but I think that we had. Well, I'm gonna just be honest. I got mad love for Bishop, but it's like whenever he talks in the chat, it's about himself and not how he can improve the team, like saying nobody in the league can guard him and stuff. That's cool when you're running fives. We're playing a league where people are game planning. We don't game plan in fives. We just get out there, put up 100 shots, miss, talk about how 2K has done us wrong, and get off. In the league, bro, you lose 5 or 6 games, you could be out the playoffs. So I'm calling everybody out. I want Daenerys to step up and be the scorer I know he is. I want Bishop to be the defender I know he is, and stop focusing so much on his stat line. I want Sid to step up and be a captain, but also know when to back off. I want myself to get more boards. I think I'm struggling on boards. Like I shouldn't be, to me, 7-1, and to call myself the best big in the league, I shouldn't be the 4th best center at boarding the basketball. And I want Tay to be more confident. Tay is a great point guard. I love playing with Tay, but I want him to be confident to tell us what he needs us to do. Because sometimes I feel like even he can be super quiet, and we're out there running around like chickens with our head cut off. So that's all I'm asking from the Bad Boys. Like we got time. We're in the hole, but we're not in the hole like we were a few days ago. So before the All-Star break. So I'll let Tay get it if he wants to, but that's all I got to say. We need to do better, the whole team, calling us out.
I respect that. That's accountability right there.
Let's get to you, Tay, real quick too. So I don't know if you know what, whatever. It's the pod. I'm gonna get to it. I heard you and Sid had a little back and forth last night during one of the games, and being that I've been on your team like 3 different times now, I know you're not the most outspoken, person or whatever, but you gonna speak up too when you see something. But then you have times where you're kind of just like, I've seen you mute yourself. So what happened? Like, because this time I heard you ain't mute yourself. So exactly what happened?
So it's been times where said, his bill has he has a 923 ball with a 93 midi. And it was times where like if he was like if it wasn't lead like and we was practicing, he would pass up, a lot of open shots, but I never like said nothing about it because I just said it's just cool, like whatever, like just move on. But very strictly business, he passed up open shot first time, I ain't say nothing, but then second time he passed up an open shot again. I was like, all right, now I gotta say something about it. And going down on defense, I'm like, you like said, like I ain't say it like in a mean way or nothing. I just say say you gotta just take the open shots, like you have a high 3, like a 923 and 2K, like your range is like right at the hash. And he got upset about it and kind of threw me off guard because I didn't expect that reaction out of him. Like it really threw me off guard. So I'm like, said, like, I don't know why you getting all, upset. I just said, like, you gotta take the open shots, and like we was going back and forth about it, and it just turned a whole bit thing. But at the end of the day, I just let it go. But as a point guard, it's like it's kind of the moralizing that, like, seeing that you was the sharpshooter of the team and you're not like taking open shots, and like that gives like the other team like they thinking like, oh, he got the top 3 ball and he not shooting. So it just kind of like threw me off for the rest of the night that like he wasn't like taking like those shots and stuff like that.
So can I step in real quick, BG, and kind of explain what Sid told me? So he said it seems like whenever he does, and we know he does pass up open shots, and I got to side with Taylor that he does. But he told me, he was like, I feel like every time I do something wrong, it gets called out, whereas everybody does stuff wrong on the team, and nobody says a word to them. And that's true to a degree because Sid has been the butt of a lot of jokes about not shooting and being hesitant and stuff like that. And then, when you do that to him constantly, he eventually somebody gonna have an outburst. But in this case, I told him, I'm like, bro, I explained to him just what Tay just said. Don't make if you can't make a bill with a 92 3 ball if you ain't gonna put that thing in the air. Like one thing I'll give credit to Division is he got a deep ball on the build. He's playing on the small forward and he lets it go. He might miss, but he lets it go. Like, and I kind of want Said to have that mentality too. Even if it's, he's a step behind the 3-point line on the hash. Pull it. Just let them know that you're gonna pull it. You know what I mean? I think that's what Tay wants him to do. Just let them know, like, you leave me, I'm pulling it. I don't care, even if I miss it. Cause rather you put up a shot and miss it than not take a shot. That's very demoralizing to a point guard. And that's for anybody. That's for Bishop too. So Bishop will get in the corner and they'll leave him and he won't shoot the ball. And then he tries to drive into, 2 or 3 people. I'm in the paint because I'm thinking he's about to shoot and it's just it just makes for bad offense. So that's what he told me was his viewpoint. So but like I said, I do have a strong feeling we are gonna figure something out, and the season will come to the very, very last games. Again, I'm guaranteeing that at least. They're gonna come to the very last games.
Okay. So I'm gonna say this because there's been a lot of talk about Said as a captain, Said as a player. I think, just from the outside looking in, I still think, and I said this in the chat today, that I feel like his best position is actually center. And, he hasn't decided to play it this season, this 2K at all. And, part of it is he's got you playing center. You've been balling at center. So I still feel like he's got to figure out what he wants to do, both as a captain and as the player. Because it sounded like from what y'all have said, even Ace, because Ace said this, and Ace, at first I couldn't figure out why he keeps saying it. Like he would say this to me multiple times, like, BG, thanks for letting me be great. Like, let me do my thing. And by that, he means just like letting him kind of run the offense. I wasn't aware that Said was like not letting Ace run the offense really until, you said it, Ace said it a couple times to me. So I'm starting to figure out like, okay, why is Said, and this is my question too, in general, like even with my team, obviously at this point, it's no secret we're running plays. But everybody has some input, but we're letting Ace, Ace is the point guard, so he's going to direct the ship. And most teams, I feel like they let the point guard direct the ship. So I don't know why it would be Said, calling the offense. I could see, and that's like for my team, my responsibility is calling the defense. But the offense is the point guard. So
I'm the defensive guy. I call the defense. It's what we need to do. Now I do think we made a mistake of not coming out that 3-2 versus y'all. We should have went man. And I think we could have saved a lot of points if we had went man. I do. And just switched everything. Because that's what we did. I mean, in the finals that we won, that's what we did. We just switched. Like, I would guard the side that JP and who else was on the team?
Tyler.
JP and I would help guard over at that side. And, Ace was on the island versus Aus. And he put up a great defensive performance. And I just feel like that's what we need to get back to is just kind of vibing on offense. We have a few offensive sets that we run, and we did not run those very often because y'all ran man against us, BG, so we couldn't run our high-low offense because, we're running man. So all Emily got to do is stay with me, and the rest of the guys or whoever's guarding me in the paint, you just got to stay with me, and the rest of the guys face guard. So we tried to run a pick and roll, and like everybody was running across each other, everybody was cutting. You can't do that. Sometimes
it seemed like chaos. I ain't gonna lie.
I understand that we have great scorers on our team. I understand that Daenerys can go get a bucket. I understand that Bishop can go get a bucket. But when we call a pick and roll, let the big and let the point guard operate, and then let Tay find you. And Tay has proven that he will find you. I mean, I think he had 15 assists last night.
He did. Yep.
I was looking, I'm like, what? I don't even remember him getting 15 assists.
Yep.
And that was that clunky offense we was running last night. So
I was gonna say that. So obviously last year, like I said, it was you and Ace was the 2-man. That was what y'all team was built around. Do y'all feel like since y'all have the additions now that, like especially Daenerys being new to the league, and then Bishop coming over to you, you feel like people don't really know their role? Like, do y'all feel like that's why your offense?
I do. I do. I feel like they don't. They don't. And I feel like they don't know when to spot up or when to cut. Like, that was one thing I can give Phil credit for. And I ain't gonna lie. He is my teammate, and I think Bishop is a great player. But that statement, and we're gonna talk about it, I guess. But that
Yeah, we're about to get to that.
Was blasphemous. Blasphemous. And he knows it. And he know, and I'll even explain the reason and why later on. But
Okay.
but I will say that it can be remedied. But people gotta learn, like, bro, you're not gonna be able to BG, if I had it my way, I would post up, do post phase like Kobe all day, drop step you to death. But I cannot do that in our offense. Sometimes I gotta set the screen. Sometimes I gotta be a decoy. Sometimes I gotta be the guy that passes it out. We all have to understand that. We have to do what it takes to win. That's what we did with the Bad Boys last year. That's what we're going to get to with the Bad Boys this year. Another thing is we could not get together to practice, and I think that had a big, humongous effect on our games Monday. Because when we practiced the week before, or the 2 weeks before the All-Star break, I feel like we ran through those teams pretty easily. And I feel like we practiced this week before the games, we're going to do the same thing. So.
You know what's funny too, because for my team it was kind of similar. I'm not, not taking away from y'all or Arkham, but we had not been able to play together. Robbie was on a cruise for 10 days. We basically got into like one practice. We were supposed to practice Saturday and Sunday. I think we ended up practicing Sunday just a very little bit, and at least for me, it felt like it showed. Like we was forgetting our spots in our plays and stuff like that. It was crazy. So.
I ain't trying to interrupt you, but I know Will and Robbie ran the same route a few times in that game. I could tell.
Yeah. And it's just I was just gonna say I think that this is not like a written thing or anything, but I know we probably can discuss it front office, whatever. I think that the All-Star break don't need to be a full break. I feel like it's just too long. Like we just stopping momentum for what?
Yes, I agree.
That's probably what's going on with our team.
That, but it is what it is, man. We'll get. Like I said, I guarantee that we will make it super interesting, and you can get me on tape. Matter of fact,
we're gonna hold you. We're gonna hold you to this.
I guarantee that we will make it super interesting before the end of the season.
Just for clarification,
go ahead.
Y'all could correct me if I'm wrong, but it's only 4 teams making playoffs, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then is there a play-in between 5th and 4th seed if it's close enough? How does that work? Just so we clarify.
And this is for everybody too. So originally we were gonna have the reserve challenge, and the reserves were gonna be able to play somebody for a play-in spot. What happened is the reserves, we still threw that out there, tagged them all, added them as much as we could. We kept not getting responses, but from I know Petty was consistently responding. I want to say Ryan was consistently responding, and maybe there's a third person I'm forgetting. But we need, you got to have 5 to play. So they never responded. So we're going to go back to, I'm assuming, and we'll discuss this in the front office, but most likely we're just going to stick with the format we had last season. It's just going to be the top 4, and that's it for this season. And then maybe we can revisit the reserve challenge for next time. So I do kind of want to ask this too. So we got representation from every single team right now. Well, no, I'm sorry, we're missing one team. We don't have anybody here from Arkham. But all right, so we had the little break. Going into All-Star break, Strictly Business lost 2 in a row. So I'm gonna start. I want to ask Hunter this first. Like, y'all turned it around, and to me, and honestly, I mean, I watched a little bit of your game against the Bad Boys, but y'all turned something around. It looked like y'all were running a little bit of offense. So did y'all practice? What did y'all like? What's different, Hunter? And
after the second loss, we sat in the chairs for like 30 minutes or an hour. We just like talked, trying to figure out what was going on. So then during the break, we got a little bit of practice in. We talked a little bit more, came up with some few sets.
Oh my God.
So so it was really, it was just the break actually kind of helped us because we were able to just get out of the little bit of a funk we were in, and we came back strong as a 2-0 show.
Can I ask a question, BG?
Yo,
Hunter. So I ain't gonna lie, bro. I feel like I can get any bucket I want on any center in the league except for you. What is
I
your
appreciate
mentality
that.
when guarding me? I literally, if you go and look, BG and Darius
Oh
and
no,
George,
I did. I was
I
watching.
have had my worst games versus Hunter. Like, I don't know if I don't take if I
Brother, this guy stinks!
hey, we're gonna get that out of here. I'm suing. I'm giving my 80. I went. But seriously, Hunter, what is your mindset, bro? Because I gotta know. Because like
I mean,
it's like you defend me like no other guy. Like Jesus.
I don't have a different. I mean, I have the same mindset against every matchup that I have, but in reality, you and me we've been playing against each other so much, Chris. So I think
Okay.
you know what I want to do, and I know what you want to do most of the time. So it's kind of just it's a little bit of a chess match most games.
It'll be games, Hunter, where it's like you can't do nothing with me, and then gosh, they call me. Then the next game. Hold on 1 second, y'all.
I'm gonna interject on that too, because
Go ahead.
Hunter, I know I came at you before. I was like, the no, not a real center comment, but I'm not gonna lie, bro. I literally was watching y'all game against the Bad Boys last night, and I'm like, yo, he's like, you snagged one of Chris's shots, snatch block, and then just making him miss shots. And I'm looking at what you were doing, and I'm like, yo, I'm gonna have to make some changes and figure out, try to do what Hunter's doing. And I mean, there's something I peeped. I'm not going to share this one, but there's something I peeped that I think you're doing that I'm gonna have to start trying. And
You gotta watch the film. I can't give secrets.
Bruh, hey man, like I said, I was watching it, and I was rewinding it like 5 different times, just watching it and watching it again. So I gotta tip my hat to you. Defensive player of the week for me, I'm not giving out no awards, but for me was Hunter. Just watching that performance.
I appreciate that, but really, this team really helps me out too. I mean, you got the stats kind of prove. I think we give up like 8 points less than the second best team or whatever it is. So
crazy.
And but really, when we formed the team, that was the kind of nucleus of it. Was we knew we were going to be a strong defensive team, and we've always been working on it. Like every practice, we're running different defenses, trying to change some stuff up. Just because we all play against each other all the time, so we kind of know in a little bit like kind of what everyone wants to do. So the team's really been helping me out with that too. It's been a lot easier this season.
Yeah,
Enjoy to play against you, bro. You too, BG. You're another guy that you are very patient. You're cerebral. Like you get there's y'all are the two centers that I be sitting two inches away from my monitor.
I don't like this, Chris. Boo.
No, bro, I gotta give because people we'll get to them, but people have made like I don't give nobody no credit for nothing, and I gotta be honest. So I'm trying to change that narrative, but them two right there, now them other guys, I don't lose a week of sleep, but them two centers right there, yeah, I get up for those games, so.
Nick, I can definitely tell you it'd be a little extra oomph coming. Like especially I think last night, the first play of the game, I feel like you went for the ball. I knew it.
I went at I told him, if you go watch the Twitch, BG, I was like, I'm going at this dude the whole game. I said I'm going at him the whole game. So
yeah, I mean, and to your credit, like you were scoring. I just said, like we helped when you got to your take.
Yep.
But I'm like, hey, if he like my thing is this, you gonna beat us on twos. I'd rather it be twos than three. Give up some threes.
From it. We said we're gonna let y'all have the twos and guard the three, and we stopped guarding the three. So you lose 3-pointers. People don't realize it. I don't know why, but a lot of people get caught up in the mid-range 2-pointers, and like, bro, those are just 2 points. I will give up a mid-range shot. It's them doggone threes that kill. And we can stop threes, we good. We've defended the three the last 2 games, and then we come back and we don't defend the three at all. So
yeah. I want to get into like our little juicy topic for tonight too. But before I do, I wanted to talk to G and Darius. So did y'all play 2 games last night?
Yeah.
And y'all went 1-1, right?
Yep.
So for y'all, like first off, did the break help or hurt, or it didn't matter?
I'll let you go first.
I don't think it helped or hurt. The only thing is with us, man, we don't really have time to practice too much. Keep it a stat.
Mm,
That's I feel like that's what's hurting us because we haven't built enough chemistry to know what each person's strong suit is. And then I feel like doing games and stuff sometimes, once two or three bad plays happen in a row, everyone gets real tight. You know,
mm,
it become like it's the end of the world when it's like legit 4.6.
mm,
I'm like, like
mm.
Bro,
everyone's stuck.
hey, G, I got a question for you. And you might be cool as a cucumber, but like when you getting them, like I know when I get in them last 2 minutes, like I'm literally in here like this with the controller, like, oh, like what do I do if it comes?
Exciting,
Like,
bro. But the thing is too though, like even when we're not hitting shots on offense though, bro, what really kills me is the breakdown. I hate beating myself when it comes to like, and even in
yes,
real life playing ball. Like I'd rather like a team beat me and I don't have control
catch
to
yourself.
beat myself. So that's the stuff that really gets me. But
Yeah,
like if we really like get more practices in and we could figure out like what we do, feel like how he likes to cut from this angle or he hits more on the left wing. Like we gotta, I feel like we just gotta practice more and figure that out.
I, I do. I feel the same way. Like I said, George, I feel like, and I'm in no shots at BG, not taking away from their win yesterday. I feel like if we had a practice, because we was up early in the game, like we was up for most of the game. I feel like if we had practice our sets like we were supposed to, we'd have came out on top of that game because that
more was strictly business. Ask Darius, like legit, it felt like it was a terrible game, but at one point we was down like 3 or 1 point.
Yeah.
yes,
We just had some mental lapse, and then it just in the fourth
It was
quarter,
like a
he
8
was
point
right
game
there the
like the
whole
whole
time.
game.
yeah.
It was a
Mm,
really close game the whole game against
mm,
Crusaders for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I feel like I agree with George. I feel like the All Star break for me though, like the role player that I am, if I feel like it hurt because we already don't practice as is. So then when you have that week long All Star break where you're not even at least when you're playing games, like you kind of building chemistry through the season just by playing games. But for me, like I know I'm not one of the best 2K players, so I need to play with like George and Austin. There's a lot of times when I'm on the court me and Division kind of really don't know where to go because like we're kind of trying to be out the way of Austin George to let them work, but then we don't. We feel like we're being useless if we just standing around. So when we don't practice, it just feels like we kind of lost when we play those games. So the All Star break kind of hurt for me because that was a time where we probably should have been practicing. And
mm.
I agree. We just gotta we kind of go into like I asked Chris earlier about people knowing their roles. I think me, Division, and Ross, we all know our roles, but we just don't know how to play our roles the best to like really help G and Austin. So we
Mm.
definitely gotta get in the lab.
I will say this, and I definitely ain't no expert on it. Like, I mean, I know real life basketball, 2K. I'm still certain things, I'm trying to learn, but I feel like, and I think I will say this, I feel like this is what Aus has been trying to get me to do, had been trying to get me to do for the longest. It's not the worst thing in the world to go to a spot and stay there. Like, I'm not saying just, plant there and grow roots, but it's not the worst thing in the world to find a spot and stay there when you're on offense. Because I've been noticing it like as now that I'm playing on a team where we're running sets and so forth.
Yeah.
It's not having a bunch of guys running around the court is definitely a good thing. Because when you got like even against the bad boys, Chris trying to post up or they're running a pick and roll, and then somebody else is bringing their man to this into the area. So I'm like, hey, that makes it easy for me because now I know I got built-in help, and there's an extra body that Chris got to go through, or there's an extra body that Tay got to go through. I even think on the play where Tay passed up the dunk towards the end of the game, I want to say somebody else was either cutting or something happened where there was another man headed in that direction. And Tay really, I mean, Tay, you passed up that dunk, but there was somebody else coming there. And I know I was dropping the help anyway, but it's just like, you see a bunch of movement. Sometimes it throws you off or, whatever. It's just a lot of chaos. So,
It 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 does. Especially since me, like I like to get to the baskets. Like I just like when like someone's like me like wants to get to the basket. I feel like just staying still is like the most important thing. It's like too much movement. It can recause like the offense to look all messy and cluster. Is like it's just not good like basketball though. That's the most
Yeah.
important thing.
No,
And
that's
Yeah.
fact. I talk to Brandon about it all the time. Like how I play 2K, like I play real basketball. So real basketball, you want movement. Like you want to be looking
Right.
for the open spot to get to. So that's how I play. But in 2K, like you gotta give niggas time to like look at the screen, get the icons up. Like just stay still. Also had to tell me the same thing. Like even yesterday we was playing, they was running zone on us, and like I'm trying to set off ball screens for Jay George. Like Darius, just go stand in the corner, bro.
Hey, so let's get to this too now. So um we're on the subject of the Crusaders a little bit now. And I'm saying this because I didn't want to, I wanted to make sure there was no tampering or whatever. But to my knowledge, this has become public knowledge because the player himself has made it known to few people that are not on his team. So Oz requested a trade. I think it's been about 2 weeks now. I think it may have been after the All-Star break or during the All-Star break. Um, it was said in the captain's chat that he was on the trading block. And now, that being said, so my question is this: like, first off, if he can even be traded, because I don't want to get nobody, like nobody's going to get hit with tampering, whatever. But if he can even be traded, because we know the rules we have in place, franchise players have to be traded for franchise players. So the franchise players in this case, and we went by points for the teams that didn't have one that re-signed. So Yote is a franchise player at 7 points. Austin is a franchise player at 7 points. Tay is a franchise player at 7 points. Ace is a franchise player at 7 points. And Kyle is a franchise player at 7 points. So the only way Austin will be traded is for one of those other four guys. I'm gonna be honest, because I know Chris mentioned that he was trying to he was trying to get something to happen. So I'll be honest, I feel like he was trying to get it would have had to include Tay. Now Chris, what's your thoughts? Because I know you said you was working on something and
that's crazy because I had that's why before I even tried to apply for captainship, I didn't know that was in place. I didn't know Tay was a franchise. I thought I moved to that, and so I don't know. I don't know how I figured we was gonna be on the same team. I don't. But my plans did not. Just to let Tay know, my plans did not include trading him at all. I thought we could maybe get away with like trading a Denarius and him for Austin. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Because after hearing you explain, there's no way that could have happened without trading Tay. And then
go ahead. Well, I was gonna say I did now, and this is the second time, so I'm throwing this out there. I didn't even tell Robbie this, but I did hit up D Ross before I even thought, because I have so my team has 1 3 point. Like we have 19 points on our cap out of 20 because both Will and Phil were fourth round picks. So I threw a trade to B Ross for Oz for Robbie. And I wasn't even necessarily gonna do it because one thing, like we were running certain plays, Robbie knows all of our plays, of course, he's on the team. So in my mind, I'm like, I don't know that I want to even risk that. And now we got to come up with new plays or whatever. But number two, I was just like, I just want to throw it out there and see what he says because I want to see what he's trying to get back. And as a GM, this is like how my mind works. I want to know what I might have to work against if he does trade Oz. So that's how I'm looking. So I'm like, let me throw it out there. Maybe he feels like he values Robbie. Maybe he wants Robbie because he won a chip with him or whatever. So I'm like, let me just find out. And of course, B Ross being B Ross, he didn't even respond for like days. I had to hit him up, and he was like, "Oh, I got a bunch of offers. I'll let you know." Typical B Ross fashion. Yeah. So that being said, Darius George, my question for y'all, like, how do y'all feel? Knowing that you got your franchise player that is requesting a trade, and I feel like I got to ask, like, what would even be his reason for requesting a trade? Because you guys are in what, third?
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
No, I think that's news to me. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I ain't know about that. How do I feel about it personally? I mean, Austin's my boy outside of 2K, but I mean, even when we play like in tournament JW basketball, like I ain't gonna lie, if niggas went off the team. It's like, hey, bro, it is what it is. Like, if you ain't trying to be here, we don't want you here.
Got you. Well, so I wasn't just doing this to mess up y'all team and chemistry or anything like that. I thought this was known because multiple players have said that Austin mentioned it to them. Um, but I was surprised when I heard that. I thought it was a B Ross move to like try to trade him. And I don't know. I didn't know if there was something else going on there. I didn't at the time. I actually didn't even know that he was the one that requested the trade. But to me, it's like and this is my thoughts. I feel like anybody requesting a trade when your team is not winning is like, hey, you just abandoning ship and leaving them.
Yeah.
So,
So I mean, I think that's what. I guess it's kind of like this. I don't know. That's just I didn't know that, so it's kind of weird. But like the thing is, Austin he been a champion in a couple of leagues, so it's like even if you in a situation where like maybe it's not going the best midway through the season, like bro, you're a champion. Like you know what it takes to win a chip in 2K. Like you can't run from the grind. So
mm,
we know that we're not where we want to be. It's halfway through the season, like you said. We're in third place, or we was probably in fourth place at the time that he requested a trade. But it's like it's so easy to get back to where you need to be that it's just crazy to me that he asked for a trade. I would assume that the reason that he asked for a trade is probably what I spoke about earlier. Like we don't practice enough that when we are playing, he probably is
mm,
feeling like he's carrying the burden of the offense. And he probably just want to go to somewhere where he can, I guess, have a little more help.
and
I mean, even I think too, like he didn't like mention it as far as like taking a shot at G or anything, but I think sometimes like early on the way G was playing point guard, Austin would like I think in his head he would think like, do I need to play point guard again? Where he didn't want to play that position, like he wanted G to fully take over. So I think
mhm.
like he feels like he got to play that point guard position to get us where we need to be, and I think he's just not really feeling the dynamics of the team right now.
And it's interesting too with that. I was gonna ask because y'all have changed positions like builds and stuff multiple times. I don't think too many other teams have done that this season. Like I mean I did it early. I was playing power forward and switched back to center, and played a game at shooting guard. But for the most part, the teams have been pretty consistent. I've noticed a couple of times y'all have switched builds and stuff. We know that I think the first time Division requested it, according to his own words, he requested the change. Last night I think Aus ran point guard. What, the second game or was it the first game?
I don't remember G. Which one was it?
It was the second.
Okay, and my question is I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Like, it feels like I don't know if y'all have a lack of a direction, or like guys are trying to like play certain positions to make themselves look better. But like, what's going on with that? Like, why the change, the
Well,
consistent, constant change?
definitely with the second game, I think it was just all about matchups.
Okay.
With strictly business, they got a three-headed monster over there, so they was just looking for the matchup to best defend them. But
Mm,
I mean, as far as changing the build or arming the lineup all the time, that's most of the time that's what it is. It's about trying to find lineups that we like as far as who we're going up against.
okay. Okay. I mean, we still got what, 6 games left in the season. So if people are going to experiment, now is the time to do it. But you're quickly running out of time to keep experimenting. You know what I mean? So kind of got to figure that out. But all right, I want to get to it real quick, and this will, I think, kind of round out this episode. So people that seen the chat today, there was some people I seen like last minute, still catching up on the chat, and like, okay, we had a big day here. So the big topic, which we were waiting to get to, but it's the Phil versus Bishop. So before we even do any comparison or anything, again, this has come up a couple times, and I think it started primarily from a comment George made on the last episode of the pod, which was, if I remember correctly, we were talking about the trade, and I already explained why I made the trade. And then George made a comment like, yeah, BG won that, not just with Ace, but with Phil. So, and I think, Bishop, it seems pretty clear that he took exception to that. So I guess go ahead, Chris.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Like that, I was just reading those comments today, and I just feel like, like where's your basis of how you're better? Are you talking about during season stats? Because, like you said, we put up a poll on who we thought was more valuable to their team. I'm gonna tell you right now who's gonna win that, and that would be Phil. And I know it's no slight to Bishop. I think he's a great player, but like Phil does a lot more than what he does. Like, he's talking about defense and stuff. Phil's a great defender. We cannot take that away from him. Phil can shoot. And you know, people be trying to say shooting is overrated, but it's really not. When people are able to put their hands behind their back and say shoot the ball and don't have to worry about you, that takes a whole aspect out of your offensive game plan. So we have to game plan for that. Whereas Phil can launch it on you, and he might go 2 for 6, but he made those 2. You know what I mean?
Hey man, I look at these stats every week. Shooting is a problem for some. Like it's hard to find good shooters this 2K. So
thank you
for sure.
Yeah. And I said this too because there was 2 sides of my trade. Like, you know, I Ace was just it was Ace. I had to go for that, but also the first 2 games we played. So we started out 1-1, and I know we beat the Bad Boys or Dogs at the time. But I wasn't feeling confident, like, at all. I was looking at it, and Tay knows this. Like, I was trying to get us to run some plays, but I'm just looking at it. I'm like, yo, if I'm not hitting shots, that's already 1 out of 5 that's not hitting shots. And then Bishop doesn't shoot much and doesn't have a high 3 ball to begin with. And I'm like, that's 2 out of 5. And we're going to force Tay, who is really like a pass first point guard, to have to shoot even more. So now it's like, you know, it's just crazy. And then looking at another thing that's important with shooting, spacing. Defenses know that if a guy's not shooting, they can cheat off of him and sit in the paint and help off, or help on. Like, if we playing against the Bad Boys, you can help off of Bishop, knowing that, you know, Chris gonna have to pass out to him at the 3-point line. So it's no disrespect. Like, I'm gonna keep it 100. Like, I was annoyed. I'm like, bro, like, let it go. I traded you. I didn't have no malice behind the trade.
If you don't want to be here, and I'm gonna be honest, if you don't want to be here, go.
I don't think that his thing is like that he don't want to be there. I think he's really he's taking shots at me through Phil.
Like, always talking and grouching about that. And I said grouching, but you know what I meant. Grouching about getting traded. Please stop. Stop. Like, I need that to stop. You're killing team morale. It's like, oh, this dude don't even want to be here with us. Who wants to go to war with somebody that don't want to be there with you?
Yeah, I mean, that matters. So in y'all opinion, like, I mean, y'all, we on the pod. So y'all opinion, first off, all right, I'm gonna say this first, real quick. At the time when I made the trade, I actually had no thought of getting Phil, none whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I think Phil said every team in free agency tried to recruit him except for me. I didn't even try to, because I just thought that me and Phil, we bump heads, like, you know, in real life, we're brothers. So I didn't want us to be arguing during games and stuff like that. And I know sometimes, like, certain things coming from me, Phil's not going to take it very well. So anyway, I wasn't even trying to get Phil. I was looking to trade Bishop for a second because I'm like, you know what? Let me see if I can get a shooter. And the only one that popped into my head, like, that I felt would be worth giving up Bishop, because I actually thought Bishop, I'm like, yo, Bishop still, he gets rebounds. He's bigger than most small forwards. But I was like, let me try to kick the tires on this and see if I can get Miami. Now, this was, again, 2 games into the season. So it was before he was going off, but it was like off of fast breaks. So this was before everybody realized that he can create his own shot and everything. So I'm like, let me try to get Miami because he's a shooter. That'll help with spacing. And I think it'll help. Bishop would help JP because they have a slasher. So I'm like, let me just throw it out there. And JP wasn't budging. So when Seg came to me, and of course you want to end Will, I'm like, nah, you're not getting in Will. But then he threw out Phil, and I'm like, wait a minute, like, are you serious? And again, like what Hunter said, shooting is a premium. So I'm like, Phil can hit shots. He may not, you know, Phil's not like a 75% shooter, but nobody is anyway. So I'm like, I'm gonna take this. So it's really shocking to me, not just the comment of. I was just gonna say it's not just the comment of about the trade, because it's clear like he feels some type of way about me trading him, but the inferior player thing is crazy to me. Like I'm gonna be honest, that's crazy.
Low key disrespectful. Like
Me looking at it today, I'm not gonna lie, because it's not just like he was like, "Oh, you defending your brother." I'm looking at it like this because I felt the same way, I guess, as people did when I was like kind of coming at Hunter after somebody said like Hunter don't
You
even
wasn't
talk.
kind of coming at Hunter. You was coming at Hunter.
And that's what y'all said. Like multiple people said to me, like, "Yo, Hunter don't even talk. Like, pick a different target. Hunter be chilling." That's how I'm looking at him coming at Phil, and I'm like, the only time he comes out of the shadows to talk is pretty much about Phil, or to kind of like big up himself. And that's where my comment of you and Jarvis are cousins, because both of them like big up themselves, or they got to put somebody else down to big up themselves. Like even, and I'm gonna say this, like, I ain't got no beef with Jarvis. I never had beef with him. But even him, like, the one game where I was on shooting guard position, I don't play, that was his claim to fame. Like, oh, I held you to 0 points. Like, I'm like, bro, I don't I don't play that position. So you ain't do nothing special. I took 5 shots. So I feel like, same thing with Bishop coming at Phil. Phil don't even talk, and Phil don't even have to talk. Like, he's been hooping. He went like Super Saiyan during the playoffs for y'all last season, and he's been shooting very well for us this season. So I don't think correct me if I'm wrong, and somebody can say this, but I don't see the comparison. I think they got similar stats, but Phil shooting like 50% from 3 compared to, I don't know, Hunter. Do you know off the top of your head? I think Bishop's like 20% or something like that, or maybe 30.
3.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not trying to call him out, but he's like 1 for 9. So whatever that percentage adds up to.
Like that's like 10%, I think. 10%.
So that's where the
Wow.
rivalry came from, huh?
Wow. I didn't know that. But and that's what he's saying, like, he said specifically, like, we're not just making this up. He said he does everything better. He plays defense better. He finishes better. The only thing Phil can do better is shoot. Phil, and I know like there's certain things that Phil does. I don't know that Bishop does it, because I feel like Bishop looks to go for like those rebounds and stuff himself. Phil will box out just to let the center grab a rebound.
mm-hmm.
Phil can get the rebounds himself, but he'll box out. And then he'll stay at home, or he'll help on the weak side. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's little stuff that Phil does as a teammate. And I'm not saying this because he's my brother, because I didn't even want him on my team at first. But Phil does a lot of little stuff. So
that's why you gave him MVP over Chris last year.
No, that's not. That's not why.
Wait. Be all right,
No. I for real, and I'm gonna say this again though on air. The reason why I did vote for Phil wasn't just like because Chris talks a lot or whatever. I honestly watch the games, and I don't go by stats when I make my votes. Like, I go by what I see in the game, and I just feel like Phil was hitting like all the big shots. He even did it for us last night. Both go-ahead baskets in the last like 30 seconds of each game came from Phil. If you look at both of our games, and that's what he did all series in the finals for BadBoys. So, you could have gone Chris, you could have gone Ace, could have gone Phil, but that was my thought process.
Hopefully, we can see what Bishop does next time he matches up against y'all.
Oh,
it's funny. It's funny too, because the other thing is this: like, they don't actually. So technically, Bishop is a small forward. Not technically, Bishop is a small forward. Phil's a power forward, and it just so happens that he's 6'10". And I think I'm pretty sure he did that on purpose to get the advantage against small forwards, and it works. Like when he's able to bully, drive past him and stuff like that. But that's kind of my thing, is like, y'all not even really playing the same position, if we're being honest, for it to be a comparison in my mind. So we're gonna see. I mean, if he got this thing in his head that he's better than Phil, I gotta respect the dudes that have a chip on their shoulder. I don't have no problem with that. But pick a different target. Pick somebody else that talks a lot, or somebody else that's coming at you. This Phil ain't it. So, and yes, I am my brother's keeper. Always gonna be. So.
Well, yeah, he said that. I don't know what, I ain't gonna lie, I don't know what I've never told Division that he was trash at 2K. I literally said, quote for quote, you don't have a bag as a center. And I thought he was a waste of space. And
I mean, that's kind of calling him trash.
he was a waste of space.
We got this hate
Like,
for me, bro.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't know why he in his feelings. All I said was he ain't got no bag and he don't do nothing.
he
I
don't
know,
do
bro.
nothing.
I'm crying right now, bro. I'm crying.
I mean, now for me, like, and that's the other thing. I'm gonna address that real quick too. He said that I called him trash and that his teammates didn't want him. No, what I did mention was something that happened where, I mean, it's old news now and it's already the dust settled. But I mentioned because Oz kept trying to stir up some mess with my team, like some behind the scenes stuff, including like who I traded and who I cut. About people getting cut and stuff like that. So I said, you want to talk about my team and like trying to bring up dirty laundry. Let's talk about yours and how your team was trying to scheme because y'all didn't want Division. I never mentioned anything about Division being trash whatsoever.
Right.
I've never said it. So, and I think he keeps, I don't know what it is. Like he misconstrues it or feels like I'm coming at him. I haven't come at him ever, I don't think. So, it is what it is. But that being said, so we got to kind of wrap this up. I was bumping some old posts from people early in the season for preseason for predictions for the season.
Oh yeah, you're early with that. Ain't gonna lie. If you could tell.
Wait, what'd you say?
Just pissing me off with that. I'll get mad.
That was for this, bro. That was for this. So, part of it was like I know Yoke predicted he was right on one thing for sure. He had Strictly Business being first, and he had the confidence to make that post. And right now they're still in first. We're still playing catch up on them. He put my team at fourth. I was tight. I'm like, bro, you were just the best.
Third, but that's when we had ace.
Yeah, that was crazy to me too. I'm not gonna lie. Like y'all just fresh off a chip, y'all kept y'all core and upgraded a piece. But things happen, and I kind of want to ask this. So since we were bumping the old post, so I'm gonna use Yotes for example. So he had Strictly Business first. Who did he have at number 2? Crusaders. I want to say Crusaders.
It wasn't us. I don't know who it was. It wasn't us though.
He couldn't have had the Knights at 2, did he? Maybe it was. Okay, I know he had us at 4. I know that for sure. Okay, I'm pretty sure it was this. So it was Strictly Business 1. It had to be Crusaders 2 because he definitely didn't put y'all at 5th. So it was Strictly Business 1, Crusaders 2, BadBoys 3, Lob City 4, and the Knights 5. So Knights had proved him wrong. Lob City proved him wrong. The BadBoys proved him wrong in the bad way. And then basically same thing with the Crusaders. So that one went out the window. I know I think Oz had us projected at number 3. And then far as I'm trying to think any other, I know a few teams, nobody had like the Knights haven't really, I don't think they projected them to have much success. So we're 10-game mark for each team. It's -2 who, because of forfeit, they didn't actually play. But the 10-game mark, where do y'all see? Y'all can make the bold predictions. Where do y'all see the season finishing out? Kind of wrap it up there.
Crusaders, we coming. Knights, we coming.
Okay.
All I got to say.
George, what you got? I know you're going. I know you don't care about other teams.
What I got?
What did you say? Say that again, G.
We've been on here for an hour.
Oh no, we wrapping it up right now. That's what I'm asking you. Who you got? What you got the standings to close out the season?
Talk about the whole us action for a trade thing, man.
Bro, where you been at?
Shocker.
Wait.
But now I know. So, good little revelation that came upon. Good to know.
Oh man, where you been, bro?
My man went 20 minutes back.
fam, I've been busy these last. I don't be in the chat. I don't be like, so
No,
I don't be
nigga,
in the
where
loop,
you
man. I
been
just
at
show
on
up
this
for games.
podcast? He talking about on this pod, nigga. We talked about that already.
He was in a red game
No, but
for
I
sure.
didn't even respond to it. Y'all switched.
Okay,
up.
okay.
I ain't feel me.
He
Oh,
didn't get a chance to respond to what he's saying. So,
real
all
quick,
right.
real quick. How you feel about it as the second star? Your main star trying to leave on you.
Hey, it is what it is, bro. I feel like it's a weak move. It is what it is.
Yeah, G, you gonna be stuck with us, bro. It is what it is. We gonna grind it out. We'll take this fifth place with pride and dignity.
Fifth is crazy. That's
And
crazy. You already.
I'm gonna say this too, BG. I think the Knights are on shaky ground. I think they on shaky ground. I saw some stuff. I think they on shaky ground. If you looked at both of their games, it was the Renzo and Miami show. So I feel like you stop them two, got a good chance of winning.
Facts. You start Renzo in that midi.
It's
Like,
easier
and we
said
did
than
an
done, bro.
excellent job guarding him
Nah,
last time. I think
that
we hit 15. So I'm very confident going into that game versus them whenever we play. So
that
It
midi
is
crazy. He
easier
definitely a
said
midi,
than
bro.
done, bro.
That midi, that's his spot. He be killing
Yeah,
it from there.
Bro,
yeah,
he got the lethal spot in that midi, though. I'm telling you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and the
That's
same thing,
bro.
Miami, bro. He making me think he got a Zen. He got whatever his pass is in. Like, if there's anything better than a Zen, Miami got it. Because the shots that he hits with like contest and everything is crazy to me.
He's
Um,
hooping, man. He's hooping.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, they might need to find third head in the three-headed monster or whatever.
They need to get
But
Kyle involved more, is
no,
what
they
from
don't.
what
No,
I
they
can
don't.
tell.
No, they don't. No, they don't. Leave him where he's at. chill, chill.
Kyle
Um,
was my MVP pick at the start of the season because the way I looked at it was Kyle needed to was gonna need to kind of carry the team, but his scoring just hasn't been where it needs to be, I think.
I mean, and the part with him too is this: like his rebounding allows them to get in the fast break. So that does count for a lot that people may not count for, but that matters. So, but let's wrap this up. Appreciate y'all for coming through, giving us some behind the scenes stuff here. I guess you heard it, the Woj bomb here first about us. We'll see what happens there. Trade deadline for, as a reminder, is Friday midnight. So by midnight Friday Eastern, that's it. No trades and no free agent picks. Although there are no free agents available right now anyway, so no trades after that. So we'll see what happens. It's Tuesday, so there's a couple days left. See if anything shakes up. I guess we'll see. I don't see anything shaking up because of the fact that he has to be traded for a franchise player. So I don't know of any team that's going to give up their franchise player at this time in the season, but we'll see. And I guess from there, appreciate y'all for coming through. And with that, we out.
Yes, sir. See y'all.